Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of What the Dementia by Bambu Care. I'm your host, Brianna Wilson. I am a certified dementia practitioner and the founder of Bambu Care. So today's podcast episode is going to be about 5 tips to become the ultimate dementia detective. But before we get into today's topic, I am both happy and proud to announce that With Intent, a practical guide to navigating behaviors along the dementia care journey, is finally available for pre-order starting today, Wednesday, April 27th, 2022. Now, as a part of pre-orders, there will be an automatic special discount as well as bundle deals with some of our other products, including some new ones. And it's important to note that all pre-orders, special discounts, and bundle deals will end May 14th. So that gives you roughly 2.5 weeks, I think. Now, one of our products that will be of limited time only is our new With Intent t-shirts. So if you want one, I'd definitely recommend taking advantage, as I'm not sure when it will be available for purchase again. So if you're interested in our new book or any of our products, or just want to check out what we have, please visit letsbamboo.com and click on the products tab. The direct link will also be in the podcast notes just to make it easier for you. If you are signed up to our newsletter, you should have already received this month's Panda Mail, which includes a direct link to all of our offers as well. And when you guys go to our website, you'll notice that we made a few changes and updates, so I hope you like it, okay? Now, I also want to take this opportunity to just say thanks in advance to all the people who do decide to purchase something and support our new book. A lot of time, thought, and effort went into it, and I really am confident that it will make a positive difference in your dementia care journey. So some of you may be like, wait a minute, I am new here and I have no idea what this girl is even talking about. Okay, so if you don't know what With Intent is, it's an easy to read book that also serves as a quick reference guide to navigating behaviors along the dementia care journey. And one of the first things that you'll notice about the book is it's a decent size, but it's not huge by any means, and I purposely made the size a larger font so that you wouldn't have to strain your eyes to read it. So it is reader friendly for those who may have a hard time reading small text. Now, one of my biggest goals was to create a book that had great information, but that wasn't so long that people who chose to read it couldn't actually get to all the great information. You know, care partners are busy people, and caregiving can sometimes be exhausting. You know, many people would love to be able to sit for hours at a time and read a book from beginning to end, but sometimes it's just not always realistic when a book seemingly goes on forever and ever. So what happens? Well, typically the book gets put down and is never finished until you have an, oh yeah, I never finished that book moment. And then what does that mean? It means despite having a really great book full of great information, it really served no justice to your life or your care journey. And so I wanted to change that. So With Intent has 10 chapters covering the basics and stages of dementia, sensory changes and its impacts, the Panda Method, which is the bread and butter of the book, environmental considerations, communication etiquette, establishing a routine and why it's important, accepting changes along the dementia care journey, end-of-life considerations, and self-care. So it really is packed full of great, straight-to-the-point information that I do encourage you to read completely at least one time, but then, because of how it's formatted, makes it super easy to quickly flip through what you want a refresher on. Oh, what were the redirection phrases she recommended again? Flip. What are the signs of dying again? Flip. What are all the things I should be considering in the environment again? Flip. So With Intent makes it really easy to get the information you need without stressing yourself about reading a long book that honestly sometimes has a lot of fluff. It's like, okay, get to the point. What am I supposed to do? What are the tips, right? So you may have briefly heard me mention the Panda Method a few times on our podcast, which is a method that I created based on the steps that I take when analyzing behaviors and determining an action plan to try to address whatever it is that may be going on. So it's an intentional interaction framework for adapting to, modifying, or eliminating challenging behaviors in persons living with dementia. It's basically a flexible, step-by-step approach to becoming the ultimate dementia detective, and then acting on your discoveries in very intentional, meaningful ways. So you've probably already heard some loose explanations over your care journey on how to be a dementia detective. Maybe things like, you have to look at the big picture and consider the who, what, when, where, and why, and keep a journal of what you're noticing and why it may be happening and what you can try to do about it. And this is great advice, but it's really not all that helpful if you don't know what the heck you should be paying attention to, right? What's really important? What all could be impacting this? Now, some may add more specific things like, okay, well, you need to consider the time, were there people around? Are they hungry, thirsty, or tired? Are they cold? Do they have pain? Do you think they may have an infection? Basically, a random list of things to consider that really has no structure, and you may even forget all the things someone told you to even consider, which makes it harder when it comes time to implement what has been suggested. And even then, if you do get past that part, it's like, okay, well, I got some ideas, now what, right? So With Intent does a really good job of breaking all this down in a very easy to remember and understand way that provides you with a structured way to organize your thoughts, observations, and actions. So if you are interested in any of the topics I mentioned that the book includes, or if you are really wanting to figure out how to be the ultimate dementia detective and make your care partner journey a bit easier while also improving the quality of life for your partner, then I definitely recommend investing in With Intent, which again, the link is in the podcast notes. Trust me guys, it's a game changer and it's full of, I guess, what you could call light bulb moments, okay? So with all that being said, I do want to give you the 5 tips to become the best dementia detective. So are you ready? So tip number 1 is that you need to learn as much as you can about your partner living with dementia. And this goes even for a family member because you'd be surprised about how much you actually don't know. So it's important that you ask people who may have grew up with them or that they've spent considerable time with. So I'll give you an example. So you may not know this, but I'm pretty weird, and I do weird random things literally all the time. But the only person who actually knows this is my partner. He's seen it all, right? Now let's say that for some reason my mom had to start taking care of me again, and I started doing something that seems pretty strange to her. She might think, what in the world? I have never seen her do this or say something like that. Is this normal? Meanwhile, my partner would be like, oh, yep, that's definitely a thing. She's done that for years, So that's what I'm saying. It's important to get a full picture about who your partner really is. So knowing as much as you can about your partner's temperament, their habits and quirks, hobbies, work history, relationship dynamics with people in their life, etc., will give you so much needed insight. Tip number 2 is that you really do need to determine if a problem or challenging behavior is really a problem. There are some things that your partner may do that are annoying, frustrating, maybe even worrisome. But if it's not causing them or you considerable distress, and if it doesn't really pose a safety concern, then it may be worth taking a second thought about whether it's really necessary to intervene. And if you do decide to intervene, what would be the goal and why? So for example, your mom talking to and petting the imaginary cat, your dad repeatedly asking the same questions, your sister wanting to wear the same clothes every day. These scenarios are not problematic by default, so really the point is to take some time to think about whether putting on your detective hat is really worth your time and energy. Okay? And then tip number 3 is that it's important to understand that behaviors are a form of communication. Most of the time, if someone is doing something, it's for a reason. And oftentimes, when it comes to dementia, it's because there is an unmet or an overmet need. So either something is missing or not right, or there's something that's needed or wanted, but it's just too much and it becomes overwhelming or overstimulating. Then we have tip number 4, which is that the focus should always be on their reality and what they perceive is happening. Now, there may be relevant elements in your reality that can give you insight into what's going on, but you really want to observe the situation through the lens of your partner. And in order to do this, one of the big things that you'll have to be aware of are sensory changes in people living with dementia. This is such a crucial piece of the puzzle. Now, there are 7 senses: sight, hearing, smell, taste, touch, and the often overlooked proprioception and vestibular sense. And all of these can influence how your partner is able to interact and make sense of their environment and world, okay? And then tip number 5, which is super important, is that you have to respect the trial and errors of being a dementia detective. Being a dementia detective is about finding and analyzing the pieces of a picture until you gather as complete of a picture as you can so that you can interpret and solve whatever may be the issue. However, it takes time, practice, and patience. So please be gentle with yourself and don't put too much pressure on yourself to figure things out, okay? Take a deep breath in through your nose, out through your mouth, and keep at it, okay? Eventually something will click, or you'll find a better way to adapt to the situation, okay? So if you do feel like you are someone who has literally tried it all and you need more guidance, again, shameless plug, take advantage of the With Intent pre-order window. Remember, all discounts and bundle deals will be available until May 14th, okay? And pre-orders will start shipping out May 16th in the order received. If you do pre-order a t-shirt, I will say though that you may have to wait a little bit longer because the different t-shirt sizes will have to ship to us first from our manufacturer, okay? So again, thank you in advance to anyone who decides to purchase and invest in any of our products. I definitely do not take it lightly, and I am very grateful that you have trusted me to be a reliable source for your dementia education and resource needs. And we really do hope to be able to offer our products internationally in the near future as well. So I know it took us a moment to get to it, but I do really hope that if you made it to this point, that you found the 5 tips I gave you helpful. If anyone has any questions, comments, or future podcast requests, you can send us an email at podcast@whatthedementia.com. Thank you so much for joining us on another episode of What the Dementia by Bambu Care. We look forward to catching you on the next episode. Take care, and until next time, stay strong, care on, and remember, you are not alone. Bambu Care is always here.